everybody, welcome back. My name's Javira. I'm Head of Partnerships and Community here at With You With Me. And as I explained to you all last time, I'm putting together a wellbeing series for those people in our community to assist them with their transition journey and their training time with us. Now, I had the pleasure of having Dr Carolyn Mair with me last time, and in our last video series, we spoke about the adjustment cycle. So for those of us who didn't join us, I'd like to welcome with me Dr. Carolyn Mair. Hi, Dr. Mair, how are you?
Hi, Javira. Thank you so much for inviting me back. It's always such a pleasure to speak with you. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm a cognitive psychologist. I worked in academia for 20 years. I'm now a consultant working in business. And my background is in behaviour, but also I was Professor of Psychology for Fashion for 5 years previous to becoming a consultant. So I'm so happy to speak with you today.
Thank you so much for joining me again. Now, Dr. Mair, I think it's actually quite fitting that today we're going to be talking about routine and the actual importance about ensuring that we maintain routine. So are you able to actually talk to our audience about what the importance of routine and especially how this helps with the adjustments?
Sure. So in our last video, we spoke about acknowledging the feelings that we are experiencing through this situation, and the way that it's so important to understand and to own those feelings, to be able to name them and own them in order to be able to address them. And one very useful, and it may be a tip, but it may be something that that we just take for granted, is we have to recognise that our routine has changed, that we're not going out to work, that those of us who are fortunate enough to still have a job or who are training, who are learning, we still need to function in that way in order to be able to come out of this situation in a positive way. And it can be quite difficult to do that when we are sort of trapped in our homes. But I cannot emphasize the importance of keeping to a routine and understanding that we only have 100% of time. And so we are, being encouraged to keep fit, to exercise, to eat well, to sleep well, to work, to look after our kids, to school them at home, to manage our relationships in a confined space. All these things alone are difficult. And when we combine them, they can give us a sense of being overwhelmed and add to the feeling we have of a lack of control. That adds to the lack of control we feel about the situation that the world is in. So this can be a very harmful feeling. But one, again, a simple way is to structure your day, to divide it up, to think, okay, I need to sleep a certain number of hours, so let's take those out of the 100%. I need to eat, so let's take those out of 100%. I also need time to think, to reflect. And sometimes we neglect this part. Sometimes we work so hard that we don't have this breathing time for thinking, for making good decisions. Good decisions are not necessarily quick decisions. They're decisions that we've thought about. We need time for this. So within our 100%, when we start breaking it down, we can do this with a pie chart very nicely. We can see how much time we have available for our work, for schooling our kids, for looking after ourselves, for eating, for sleeping, for exercising, for learning, for all the factors that are part of our life. So last time in our conversation, Javier, I spoke about how we might have a mental model that we've had for our pre-existing normal, and how we then begin to integrate the new normal that we're in now into our previous mental models, and that helps us. And in this situation of having structure in our day, and routine in our day, this is so helpful because we can bring the routine, the mental models that we had previously, into our current situation. So when we went to work before, or when we went to study, even when we did work from home, how did we do that? What were our routines? And for most of us, when we were working, and if we're still working now, we typically got up, we showered, we got dressed, we shaved, or we put on our makeup. We did these things that help us feel valuable. They give us this sense of self-value, of meaning. And I spoke about meaning in our last video. Meaning is so important to us as human beings. Finding our meaning, what is our value, what do we contribute, is so important. And by following these routines and getting dressed in a way that we would have got dressed previously for the work we were doing, regardless of what that work was, is so important to enable us to maintain this sense of control, this feeling of control we have over the situation, when so much of it outside our homes is beyond our control. So it's really important for us to maintain the routine of getting dressed in a way that we want to be seen, because how we're seen gives the impression to other people of our identity, of who we are. So our clothes enable us to, what we call in the fashion industry, to negotiate our identity, to say who we are. And if I was in this interview in my pajamas or a sweatshirt, you may think, wow, do I trust this woman that much? Perhaps I would. I'm not so sure. But this is the type of clothing, and also the denim shirt that I wore in the previous interview. These type of clothes are what I would wear for work anyway. One of the other things I always do in the morning, I tend to put on more makeup now than I would normally, because my meetings are, I'm looking at myself, although there's a small image of myself, which I wouldn't do in meetings normally. And so I want to feel confident that that's as good as it gets. It may not be perfect, but that's the best I can do with what I've been given. I mean, that's all we can do. I also recommend putting on scent. Okay. So that might be aftershave, cologne, perfume, because that scent and the sense of smell is the closest and the fastest perception that we have to our emotion centers in the brain. So the sense of smell goes through our nostrils, obviously, and it's molecules in the air, so we can't shut it out. And our olfactory bulbs are here, and they are the closest thing to our amygdala, which is I'm trying to do this in my brain, but just behind in the brain. And the amygdala sits inside what's called the hippocampus, which is where our memories are laid down. So we begin to see the connection between the power of scent and memory. And if we always wore a perfume to work, a scent to work, wearing that scent again can trigger those memories and can make us feel as if we're in that space again. Can make us feel this sense of control. When we were working in an office with colleagues, or we were working, driving, or we had the smell of the car, or however else we worked, whatever context, if we can bring that into our routines now, it can really be powerful in helping us maintain this sense of control. And in the last video, I spoke about how the feeling of a lack of control is one of the life's biggest stresses.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. When I was listening to you obviously talk about the perfume sort of side of thing, and I'll absolutely be honest. And I know that when I called you and asked you to help me put together this series, I had reached out to you saying that I feel as though I'm not keeping my routine, and that's why I was struggling to find my new adjustments, you know. So, but I think one thing that's really valuable with what you said is that the scent. Like, I haven't been using perfume because I've just been at home. I've obviously been putting deodorant on, but not perfume because I'm like, oh, you know, I'm not going out anywhere. But I obviously, just to say, it triggers a memory. I think that would obviously help with that whole adjustment sort of cycle that we spoke about as well. Yeah, in our last series.
Absolutely, Javier. And there's two things there that I think that you've triggered in me. One is, so we don't put on scent because we're not going out, you know, but it's part of the self-care routine. It's part of how we value ourselves. And what I didn't speak about, I just like to brush past the showering, but using some good, you know, products, some great toiletries, something that has a lovely smell if you like that, or something, you know, that makes your skin feel great. You know, whatever gender we are, these aspects help us feel this value, and it's so important to feel that self-value, to feel that we're worth something, that we have some meaning. And I can't emphasize that enough, and scent is such an easy way to do that. It is so simple. Yes. It's a fraction of a second. And the other point that you triggered in me was saying, you know, we had a discussion about when we both owned the feeling that, you know, sometimes this is a very miserable situation. This is a situation that, you know, I've been afraid that this isn't going to end, for example. And this is so normal. And this is where routine helps. And the feeling of the initial stage when it was like, okay, this is quite fun. I'm working from home. I don't have to dress. I can just wear, you know, my gym stuff or an old T-shirt, and who cares? No one's going to see me. No makeup. But after a couple of days, we begin to think, well, who am I? Because our job, our position, our clothes are central to our identity. Those factors and multiple others are central to who we are. And the way we express who we are is through these elements. And it may be even that we're doing a bit of role-playing now at home. But that's all fine. That's great. If it helps us maintain this sense of control, this feeling of control. Just these ideas that they can help us feel good about ourselves. And that's what clothes do as well. When we're in clothes that make us look good, we feel good. And when we feel good in our clothes. And that's, you know, it's a reciprocal cycle. And people who we interact with online or on the phone also feel that positivity. And I think the genuineness is essential here. So, you know, repeating what I've said before, and our discussion, Javiera, it's about owning the feelings. We won't all be in the same place at the same time. They can come and go. You can have a week where you're feeling amazing, in control, you've done so much, you've exercised every day, and you're feeling great. And then you can have a feeling that it just comes like a wash, like a wave over you, that this is not a great place to be. So remember the gratitude, remember the appreciation, remember you can reach out to other people. There are people there for you. And there are people beyond your friends. There are organisations who can help. There are all sorts of support materials available. And keeping to your routine as best you can.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Mair, for joining me. It was an absolute pleasure having you. I've enjoyed it thoroughly, and I know that our community is going to get tremendous value out of the information that you've provided us. So thank you so much again for joining me.
Thank you so much. It was my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.